All right, welcome everybody. Sorry about that if you couldn't hear me in the last 10 minutes or so. Yeah, we had some technical difficulties with the sound, but everything is good now. 6 minutes left in this qualifying session, and we've still got 5 drivers, including Mr. B United, the championship leader, who have not set lap times yet. Yeah, track limits in Canada, very punishing. Certainly, a lot of people have been getting caught out of places like the inside of Turn 3, Turns 8 and 9, where Mr. B is right now. Very easy to just go a little wide there on exit or take a little too much curb on entry. And especially the final chicane, that one is very punishing as well. Because, of course, if you invalidate at the final chicane, you can't just pull into the pits and save yourself the time that you lose by doing an in-lap. Now then, let's find someone who is on a valid flyer. Batsinator JB in the McLaren, another big name who has not set a flying lap yet. Neither of the McLarens have, actually. But they are out and working now. Batsinator coming through turns 6 and 7 there. Now flying down the back straightaway into 8 and 9. He could invalidate here if he's not careful. Thankfully, though, he is able to stay within the bounds of the track limits. Now coming up to the very tricky turn 10 hairpin, a purple middle sector actually for Batsinator. So he could be on for a very blistering lap time here, really. Chaos retires from 4th. Looks like the Renault driver is satisfied with his lap time. Batsinator, meanwhile, thundering down the back straight. He's got to be careful not to invalidate his time here. But then the final chicane, gain or lose a lot of time, and he's invalidated. Batsinator. Not only that, he stopped the car on the circuit. Not sure why, but that is the end of it for Batsinator. He could pull back into the pits and try another lap time as he blatantly cuts turns 1 and 2. I'm not sure that's legal, actually. I'll clip it just in case. Haas versus Williams battling for pole. Who would have thought that in 2020? Both of them reserve drivers. Crispy was actually in the commentating booth with me last week at Baku. So he is very much jack of all trades, and he certainly has rapid. Look at that, just stretching the track all the way on the exit of turn 4, now into 6, as Wine King retires from 11th in his Red Bull. Looking like a very good lap from Crispy so far. Let's see what his middle sector split is once we get past 8 and 9. Ooh, that's a lot of traffic. Black Sox lucky to get out of the way in time there. Coming up now to one of the McLarens, I think that's Batsinator. Yeah, Batsinator's getting out of the way for him. Ooh, lock up into the hairpin. Crispy pushing very hard. No purple middle sector for him. So I don't think this is going to be a pole lap, but he still could potentially break into the 107s with whatever time he sets. It all depends on the final chicane, I suppose. But Ron Har improves his time to a 1 minute 7.5, so he's absolutely flying out there. Definitely one of the fastest guys on the platform. So is Crispy. What can he do? He doesn't improve. It's a 108.1. So he'll stay right where he is. Ben Spittles retires without setting a flying lap time, so his Ferrari will start right at the back of the grid. Mr. B United, meanwhile, the championship leader in the Mercedes, he still hasn't set a flying lap time. He's currently coming through turns 6 and 7. He hasn't invalidated yet, so that's a good sign for him. Now down the back straight, DRS open. How good of a lap time is this? It might not be a very good lap time because it started raining now. I can see drops of rain just faintly coming down, and Mr. B's invalidated. He's invalidated. He took too much curb in turn 9. And he's going to pay for that with his qualifying. He's retired now on track. And that's it. He's starting at the back. Batsinator now trying to set a lap time, really any lap time, coming through turns 8 and 9. Didn't invalidate there like Mr. B did. But there is still the final chicane that caught him out last time. A little bit deep into the hairpin, but nice and tidy. His teammate J-Ball, meanwhile, has already invalidated his lap, so he'll start towards the back of the grid as well. Some disaster for some of these guys. As several people, a full quarter of the grid, in fact, failing to set lap times, and Batsinator now coming through the final chicane, clearly being a bit cautious, although still getting a half-decent run. A little bit of slipstream off the AlphaTauri across the line is going to put him in 13th. It's a 111.7. That was never going to be anywhere near pole position since it is raining now and grip is going down. But at least, unlike his teammate, Batsinator gets something on the board. So he will start P13 in this Canadian Grand Prix. And I wonder, rain in qualifying, could that mean rain in the race? It is entirely possible. At Canada, it rains more often than almost any other track on the calendar. It's up there with the likes of Silverstone, Spa, Vietnam, China, and others. So we'll have to see. Either way, that looks to be the end of qualifying, so what you're looking at now is the starting grid for the race. FRA Ronhar absolutely blowing away the competition with a 107.5 pole lap. Behind him is FRA Crispy and the Haas car. Both of those guys are reserve drivers. Squishy, meanwhile, I missed this before, but he set a blistering lap in the Alfa Romeo right at the end with a 109.2. So he leapfrogged almost everyone up to third. Stringy will be in fourth, and RW Aiden will be in fifth, our winner from Baku. PR Mango will be in sixth, followed by Chaos, Tiago, Twelves, and Baby Pluto rounding out the top 10. All of them on soft compound tires. So the medium gamble working out for absolutely nobody in this session, and I'll go over the rest of the starting grid as soon as we get to the next screen. Here we go. So that was the top 10. Outside the top 10, Black Sox and the Haas will get free choice of tires, as will Wang King in the Red Bull, followed by Batchinator, Alex K, George, RWE Pat, Tom's Battlers, J-Ball, Spittles, Mr. B, and CTR Lucas, the latter four of whom all didn't set a time, but actually, I missed this before. RWE Pat has a grid penalty. I'm not sure what for. We can look at it now. 5-place grid penalty. What could that be for? Doesn't say. Ooh, I think I got to it in the race director. It was for a collision with somebody. I didn't quite see with who before it flicked away, but looks like Pat got into some grief with somebody else during the session. Everyone at the back now is forming up. And we will be underway in mere moments. Focusing on the pole sitter, Ronhar, on the inside. And could we get some red lights, please? Hello? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And we're off. It looks like Ronhar is getting a decent start, but so is Crispy. Crispy's on the outside. He's poking ahead in the Haas. What's he going to be able to do? They're side by side into turn one. Crispy's still on the inside. There's contact. Ronhar gets squeezed out wide. A bit of oversteer coming up turn one, and they're still side by side heading into turn number two, but Crispy just has to yield, and Ronhar is solidly out in the lead as they come to the end of the first sector, but the game's saying somebody's a lap down. Oh, okay, I guess RWE Pat is now in the lead of this race for some reason. Oh, and there's been plenty of contact. I see front wing elements flying everywhere, and the virtual safety car's out, and Black Sox is out of the race. And there's Red Bull in the wall. It's Wang King. He's spun off at the exit of turn 6, and RK George's gotten a 5-second penalty for a collision with Toms. So pretty sloppy stuff in the first lap. Black Sox is already out. Shame for him. He's starting 11th. In decent position. As Aiden gets penalty now for a collision with Mango. And everyone's adhering to the VSC Delta as usual. And it looks like Wang King may have gotten an illegal overtake on Pat. Oh, they're swapping again. Confusion there. The VSC ends. And Wang King's going to have to pit for a new front wing, and I think someone else is going to have to as well, because I saw all sorts of bits flying around in turns 5 and 6 while we were under green, and we're back under green now. Ronhar cuts turn 1 blatantly. I'm guessing that'll be a warning, but he is way out front now. He's going to want to get that 1 second gap over Crispy before the end of this lap to avoid getting DRS. To avoid him getting DRS, rather, and he already has, actually. He's 1.7 or 1.1 seconds ahead of Crispy, but Stringy is clinging right onto the back of Crispy, and Squishy is right on the back of Stringy. Stringy actually gained a position on Squishy in that opening lap. So he is up to third, Squishy down to fourth. Tiago still rounding out the top 5. Now the question is, who do we ride on board with? Alex K. George for the back has been passed by CTR Lucas, it would appear. Let's take a look at this battle. Lucas on the mediums, but he generally has more pace. He's considered to be one of the fastest drivers in this tier, as J-Ball gets a track limits related time penalty. Considering just how strict this track is, we may even see a disqualification or two. Because if you get 30 seconds worth of penalties from any source, then you can get disqualified just for not being very kind at the track limits. Although it is rare, it can happen. It is possible, so they'll have to watch out for that as Ben Spittles is now out. Spittles is... looks like he's fallen afoul of the racing gods at turn 9. Oh, yes, that's right. That's the right front tire. Not looking very in place for the Ferrari reserve driver. And it's a full safety car this time. I knew it. There was going to be a safety car. There was always going to be a safety car in this race. And it's come out. And it's very good for the soft compound tire runners, I'd say, because now they get a chance to conserve their rubber, drag it deeper into the race without being caught up in the medium traffic. And they will perhaps make the one stop a little bit easier for themselves with all this safety car running. And there have been a few people pitting. Toms is out onto the medium tires already, so he's committing to the 2-stop. Maybe Pluto is in and out onto the hard compound tires. Wang King's out on hards as well, so they're all trying to stretch their rubber to the end of the race, perhaps. Aiden and Mango both pitted last lap in their attempts to perhaps change the strategy up in a way that allows them to get to the end. And I think someone spun further back under safety car. Is that Chaos? Oh no, that's a safety car. I saw a yellow dot stationary in turn 4, but no, that is the safety car, not a Renault. Stringy actually is in, and he's pitting for hards. Okay, so there are a lot of guys going for the really aggressive hard strategy here. I really can't imagine that the hard tire can last 31, 32 laps to the end of this race. It's just too much of a stretch. I mean, even the hard compound tires, when you put them on at lap 10 or lap 12, which is usually the scheduled soft hard pit window, they wear a lot. They wear a lot even in 25 laps, let alone 30. Stringy doesn't seem to care. He's out onto the hard tires. Same with Chaos. 12's on the other hand. He's out on the medium tire, so looks like he's taking a bit more of a conservative approach with the 2-stop. Anyway, back up to the front, where we find still the race leader, Ron Har, who has not seen fit to pit yet in this race, so I'm guessing he'll want to stretch his softs a bit further, get fresher tires later on in the Grand Prix. And of course, by staying out, he maintains that all-important track position, as Mr. B gets another probably unwarranted penalty from the game for a collision with PR Mango. Yeah, the game gives out a lot of really weird penalties under safety car. It's something that our stewarding teams tend to look at quite a lot. Anyway, it's almost time to get going again. Safety car will not be in this lap, so clearly the race director feels the need to allow more time for the stricken Ferrari of Ben Spittles to be recovered, even though it's already despawned as of a couple of laps ago. Meanwhile, Alex K. George seems to need a new front wing, so he is pitted for that and a set of medium compound tires, so he's switching to the 2-stop, it would appear. And is he going to get out of the pits ahead of Tom Battlers and Baby Pluto? It looks like he will. Let's see, heading back to the front, what can we find? Stops. So, as of right now, everyone in the top 7 is still yet to stop. Everyone in the top 10 is still yet to stop, actually, except for Stringy. So watch out for that. The pit lane will still be busy around lap 10 or lap 12 mark, because the same people who haven't stopped yet are a lot of the same people who started the race in the soft compound tires. It's about an even split between people who started on softs and started on mediums. 4 soft runners, 5 medium runners. So watch out with that. Safety car is in this lap here at the end of lap 5, so we will get running again in what will hopefully be an uninterrupted 30-lap shootout to the end. For Ron Har effectively becomes the safety car now for this final sector before we go to green. There will be no overtaking until the leader crosses the start-finish line. A lot of bobbing and weaving going on now that 4 more people are on the medium and hard compound tires Getting temperature into those tires at the restart will become all the more important. And he goes. Ronhar is off, and he is bursting ahead now. Up to the start-finish line. Mr. B gets time penalty for track limits warnings, and Ronhar is past the start-finish line. He is into turn 1 now. Looks like he has gotten a decent gap over FR Crispy already, but Crispy is facing plenty of pressure from Squishy behind. Meanwhile, further back, Batsinator is right on the tail of Tiago, who is a soft runner. The soft runners need to pull out a bit of a gap now to everyone on the medium compound tire. They do not want to get held up, or their strategy is going to be impaired. Batsinator still chasing down the Ferrari through turns 5 and 6. A little bit too far back for a move at the moment, as Aiden gets past Chaos for 12th for the back, and Lucas and Stringy swap places heading into turn 8. Will Stringy try something into the hairpin, or is he gonna cede the position on his hard compound tires? And there's yellow flags. Yellow flags for what? I don't see anything going on in front of or behind Lucas. Yeah, not too sure what that was for. But either way, we continue to race. It's Ronhar followed by Crispy, Squishy, Tiago, Batsinator, Mr. B. Ooh, Stringy's coming back at Lucas. Hold on a minute. J-Ball, Lucas, Stringy, and 12s round out the top 10 at the moment, followed by 8. J-Ball gets a time penalty for track limits. He needs to clean up his act before that gets out of hand. Track limits penalties can very much be a snowball effect here at Canada. Lucas right on the back of J-Ball still. Batsinator's fallen back slightly from Tiago, but Mr. B is now right on the back of Batsinator. Everyone out front stretching their leads a little bit, stretching their advantage over one another. Ronhar over a second ahead of Crispy, Crispy over a second ahead of Squishy, Squishy over a second ahead of Tiago, and Tiago just about getting that second gap over Batsinator. So the soft tire runners are doing what they need to do as of right now, but Tiago needs just a bit more of an advantage over Batsinator at the moment if he wants to get out of DRS range and really stretch his advantage. A little bit of a lock up through the hairpin there on the right front. As we can see on that excellent suspension cam that the game gives us. Batsinator actually gaining through the middle sector and now down the back straight. So Tiago better watch his back. DRS is going to be enabled, I believe, as we come across the start-finish line now. Batsinator gets time penalty. Sure enough, DRS is enabled. And Tiago is not outside of DRS range of Batsinator. Batsinator is actually right on his tail again. Batsinator not giving up in the slightest. Maybe wearing out his tires a bit more, stuck behind the Ferrari. But he is putting a lot more pressure on one of the soft runners, and this could wreck Tiago's race if he gets stuck in a battle. And there's the yellow flag now further back. Is that Pat? Yes, Pat has spun it. Into turn 1, it looks like. Might have gotten caught up with Alex K. George, or Tom's perhaps. But he falls down to 15th place. Behind him, his teammate Wang King on Thresher medium tires is catching him a bit, but still quite a ways behind. Big Pluto also behind the Red Bull, but on hard tires. And PR Mango only had just fitted the medium tires, so I'm guessing he got involved in that collision, and perhaps that collision he had earlier with Mr. B gave him some front wing damage. Again, Ronhar still leaving Crispy well outside of DRS range of the Haas. Followed by Squishy and Tiago. Batsinator now. Batsinator with DRS is really attacking. Let's ride on board with the McLaren. Gojira987 saying in chat, Crispy is so sweaty. Amen to that. Amen to that. Crispy is very rapid, but Ronhar at the moment seems to have the measure of him. Batsinator might just have the measure of Tiago if he can stay close enough on the DRS straights. And he has lost 2 positions, 1 to Aiden and 1 to Ronhar. And there's a yellow flag now in the first sector. There's an AlphaTauri around. I think that's Tom's Battlers. Yeah, that was Tom's, and it looks like he might have a bit of front wing damage. Not too sure. Oh, he's lost his entire front wing. Forget about damage. It's not even there anymore. So the AlphaTauri driver losing even more time. And his teammate, PR Mango, is now catching up to him quite quickly. I don't think that'll be much of a fight, considering one of them doesn't even have any front downforce at the moment. Meanwhile, further up front, Stringy is retaking Aiden around the outside into turn 1 on harder tires. Well done to him. Ronhar, meanwhile, now is a 2.9 second gap to close up to Mr. B. And the doubt Stringy will be challenging Ronhar, considering his pace at the moment. And on lap 12 of 35, CTR Lucas now leads, but only because he hasn't made a stop yet. Let's look at who hasn't stopped yet overall. Yeah, only the top three, Lucas, Batsonator, and Mr. B, had yet to stop. And I suspect they'll be coming in soon. There's a yellow flag now in the middle sector, and there's a racing point around. I think that's 12's. Oh, yeah, it is. He spun it. On the exit of turns 6 and 7, it looks like, and he's got some front wing damage as well. Plenty of front wing damage as Tiago roars by. Tiago doesn't actually roar by. Oh, he lets him ahead. Oh, that lost Tiago quite a bit of time. I'm not sure if he's even in a net P4 anymore, but a nice gesture from... Oh, it is a safety car. Sorry. Safety car is out. He is going slow because the safety car has been deployed for that spin from 12's. And so, this is going to give the top three a huge gift. They can pit now. They can pit for free, and all three of them are doing so. Lucas in, Batsonator in, Mr. B in. And this is huge. Mr. B pitting onto the hard compound tires, serving a 5-second penalty, of course, from his incident with Mango. Stringy off the hards onto the mediums, so he's doing the opposite. And there's a double stack from Renault, and Chaos is going to lose a ton of time from this. Chaos serving a penalty as well, and on to another set of the medium compound tires. But keep in mind, Chaos started on those softs, so he has satisfied the 2 compound requirement. Crispy getting a new front wing, as well as a new set of hard tires, so strategy change from the Haas driver. Things not going too well for him now. Tiago pits onto the soft compound tire, as he does mid-race sometimes, to my dismay and incredulity. 12's comes out on the hard tire, as does Alex K. George. Wang King's pitting onto the mediums. J-Ball pits onto the softs. Ooh, bit of an unsafe release there from Williams. But it doesn't really matter since cars can ghost through each other in the pit lane, as David Pluto comes out of the pits just ahead of J-Ball, but on the medium tires compared to J-Ball's softs. And RWE Pat has not felt the need to pit since he already did for hard compound tires, so he's in a decent position. And he's now ahead of the 2 Alpha Tauris, as those 2 have not yet left the pit. Huge pack of cars here, so the soft runners, Tiago, Tom Battlers, and J-Ball are going to try to make moves very early on here with their soft compound tires, but in the long run, I think hard runners, George, 12's, Ronhar, Crispy, Batsonator, Lucas, they're going to be in the best position. And now Squishy back in the pack up. He is the leader in the Alfa Romeo on the medium tires, so he should be able to get a good getaway compared to everybody. The mediums are a lot better on a safety car restart, and they should last a decent way into the race. But to stretch them to the end would be a very big stretch for Squishy. And he gets a time penalty under safety car. He gets a time penalty on the final chicane for multiple warnings. That's a bit of an oof for Squishy, but he continues nonetheless. We switch to broadcast cam. Looks like everyone's relatively spread out getting into turn 1, but they'll continue up in turn 2. Batsonator right on the back of Lucas. Another excellent restart from him. What can he do as Tom Battlers gets a 5-second penalty for what looks like an illegal overtake. Perhaps he passed PR Mango before the start-finish line. I'm not too sure. Baby Pluto's coming to the pits again for the 5th time this race, so I'm not sure what's going on with him at this point. Mr. B has gotten a time penalty for multiple warnings now. Squishy is already pulling away. He's already at DRS range of Lucas, and we're not even through the middle sector yet. But Batsonator seems to be sticking to the back, and Mr. B and Ronhar are side by side. Ronhar trying to get past the Mercedes early. But Ronhar's missing a front wing end plate. Look at that. Ronhar has damage. Ronhar perhaps getting a little bit too overzealous. And there's a yellow flag now. Tom Battlers is out. Absolute carnage and chaos here, and that's RWE Aiden in the wall as well. They have come to blows, it looks like. And they're both in the wall. And Tom's is done. Just like that. And there's another safety car. We're not even at half distance yet. We've already had 3 safety cars and a VSC, and this is an absolute gift to Squishy, I'd say. Because now he gets to pit and go on to tires that can last him until the end of the race. And it's a gift for Lucas as well, because now he has the lead without having to overtake anybody. Squishy goes on to the hards, as predicted. Others are in the pits as well. Tiago's in for mediums, probably a good idea for him. J-Ball's in the pits. Ronhar's in the pits for a new front wing. This is a gift to him. He's on to the mediums. Aiden is, of course, on to the hards. J-Ball's on to pretty worn medium tires. That's an unusual call from J-Ball. Tiago is one of the few cars left, it seems, that has a fresh set of mediums or hards. So good on him for that. Squishy as well on fresh hards. So, some absolute carnage here. Yeah, Aiden getting all the Friday the 13th bad luck. I would agree with you, Gojira. This is pretty ridiculous. Pretty ridiculous scenes for Aiden to be dealing with. He's still in plumb last. He's gained a free position, I suppose, from Tom's retirement. But he's still 7 positions off the points. And considering his luck, I'm not sure if he'll be able to recover that. Ronhar's race, meanwhile, has just gone to complete shambles with this latest development. He's now in 15th. And he clearly has the best raw pace out of anybody here, but can he use that when he's going to be stuck in traffic? Looks like it could be a straight fight between Lucas Batsoneter and maybe Stringy for the win of this race, and maybe Crispy as well if he can fight his way through Chaos and Mr. B. But see, really anybody in the top 7 has some potential here to win this race. Everyone else is either out of position or on 2 old tires. As Pat dives into the pits for some reason. I'm not sure why. Does he think mediums can go to the end of the race from here? That is a gamble from Pat, if he's doing that. He's serving a penalty, so that's smart from him. Yeah, he's going on to fresh mediums, Pat is, so I guess he's thinking 17 laps is a window that the mediums can handle. I think it probably is, to be fair. We are getting to that point where the mediums can last until the end of the race, so the hard runners might actually come to be at a disadvantage now. Tiago's tires are probably the perfect age for this, because his can make it to the end, I'd say, and they're faster as well than the hards, especially on safety car restarts. So Tiago all of a sudden in a decent position. But this is already turning out to be a very chaotic and twisty-turny race. As your current running order is Lucas, Batsoneter, Stringy, Mr. B, Chaos, Crispy, Twills, Wine King, George, and Mango. Let's see how things shake out on this restart. Hopefully no one else is going to bend in, go all and retire. But you never know. This is Canada after all. We've seen plenty happen here, and Batsoneter's already right on the back of Lucas. Down the pit straight. He's going to try something into turn 1, I wonder. 12 is the time penalty for track limits. Batsoneter waits. He lunges, not quite. He thinks about it, but Lucas is going to stay ahead. And is there already an incident? I see yellow flags. Yes, there's a McLaren. It's J-Ball. J-Ball spun on the pit straight, and he's got wing damage. And J-Ball's day goes from bad to worse, it looks like. Really bad stuff for him. Stringy, meanwhile, run on the back of Batsoneter. Batsoneter run on the back of Lucas. Stringy is going to have the advantage at this stage because of softer tires. Same with CTR Chaos. So the 2 Renaults are going to be on the attack here against the McLaren Renault. And there's a yellow flag in the middle sector now, and there's a Red Bull around, I think. that might have been Pat. Pat's wing looks okay, so I'm not sure what that was actually for. Tiago gets a time penalty for track limits now. Ronhar and Alex K. George are battling further back. Squeesh is trying to make his way past Mango and does into the hairpin. There's a lot going on right now, not least of which Stringy is going to be right on Batsoneter now. Batsoneter's falling back slightly from the race leader. And Stringy takes P2. Batsoneter's got to play the long game with his tires. So does Stringy, but right now Stringy needs to press his advantage because the mediums are only going to get worse compared to the hards from here on out. As Tiago pits now, and he gets a penalty for doing it. He speeds in the pit lane, and Tiago is out. I said Tiago was in a good position on the restart because he was on fresh mediums and had not terrible track position, but clearly he didn't see it that way, and he's out. He's going to be out now. He's going to be our 4th retirement. At the very least, he retired in the pits. J-Ball's in the pits now. Is he going to retire as well? We'll have to see. But Stringy now, I suspect Stringy will just go right up to the back of Lucas now and go for the lead. Chaos, meanwhile, trying to get past Mr. B for P4. He's also on the medium tire compared to Mr. B's hards. Clearly got quite a bit more grip and confidence off of turn 9. J-Ball is not retiring. He's pitting onto the hard compound tires. So clearly he thinks that's his better bet for the end to go to the end of the race. His mediums were pretty old, to be fair. So I would have needed to make another stop either way. But Chaos right on the back now of that Mercedes car. Stringy, meanwhile, within DRS range of Lucas, but he's pulled away from Batsoneter enough to for him to not get DRS. Same with Batsoneter and Mr. B. So those battles might cool down a bit. DRS has been enabled now, so Stringy will have that extra advantage. Batsoneter will not, Mr. B will not. Chaos will. Chaos is right behind Mr. B at the moment. Meanwhile, 12s and Wanking going at it for 7th place. Wanking finding himself very much higher up in the order than I think he was expecting. But he is on older tires compared to 12s. And Ronhar is cruising up right back up to both of them. So Ronhar looks to be on the attack now. He could get 12s into turn 5. He tries it. Very smooth up the inside. That is a very classy move from Ronhar. Now, with Aiden it was, and now he's coming right up to the back of CTR Chaos and Mr. B United, who are in their own scrap. And I wonder how long it'll take him to get past them. Meanwhile, out front, Stringy and Lucas. Lucas seems to be keeping Stringy at arm's length, around that same 6th or 7th, 10th window. But really, Lucas has quite a bit of pace on the hard tire. Really, all Lucas needs to do here is hold off Stringy until the crossover point between medium and hard tires, where the hards become faster, because the mediums are going to fall off a lot quicker in terms of tire wear as Mango gets past Wanking for 7th place, and Squishy follows him through into turn 8. Squishy, a very rapid driver. He's going to get past Mango in short order, I believe, here. And Aiden is back in the points, so Aiden is being very resilient, despite all this bad luck that he's getting. He is back into 10th place, and he's right on the back of Wanking now on fresher tires. So looking good for him at the moment if J-Ball gets his track limits time penalty. He's currently sat in plumb last, 16th place. And Chaos has gotten past Mr. B into the final chicane. That seemed to be a matter of time thing. So either way, he is passed, and someone spun. Someone spun at Squishy. Squishy, I don't know what happened there. It looks like he might have come to blows with PR Mango, perhaps. So he's just completely spinoled at the final chicane. He's got wing damage, and he's going to get passed by Crispy, who has rejoined the race, thankfully. And RWE Pat's not too far behind either, so he might pick up a position. Fascinator will get the last lap anyway, since Ronhar's tires are quite old and could fall off very quickly, very soon. Same with CTR Chaos, but he's on the attack as well. He's trying to get past Fascinator now for 4th place. And PR Mango's right on the back of RWE Aiden, P6. So Mr. B could be hemorrhaging positions here. First to Chaos and Ronhar, and now perhaps to Mango and his teammate, Aiden. He's not too far behind, and Mango gets past on the back straight around the outside. And Aiden now is going to be very close behind him. But could Mr. B come back at the AlphaTauri? He is. He's coming back at Mango. Into turn 1. Can he get it done? Ooh, there's contact. And they both half spin. And that's going to give free positions to Aiden. They collided on the apex of turn 1 there. They just kind of got stuck together. I think that was like a side pod glitch or something. And Mango and Mr. B both lost a ton of time to that. Wanking had 2 safety cars to change his tires. Such bad strategy there. Yeah, Gojira, the Red Bulls not making the best strategical calls today, so they find both of them out of the points now. And it doesn't look like they'll be getting into the points unless more of these guys up front crash. Fascinator, meanwhile, holding off Chaos respectably at this point in time. Chaos too far back to try anything into the hairpin, but Fascinator going a little bit deep in the braking zone, just ever so slightly, and Chaos is going to be right on the back of him now. Very conservative short shifting from Chaos, trying to save his tires at this stage. It's going to be a huge task, and truly an effort for Chaos to nurse medium tires at that age to the end. Tries to move on Fascinator just a bit too far back. Fascinator messes up though. And he's right behind him on the back straight now. And I think Fascinator's pretty slow at the moment. Oh yeah, he is. Fascinator's going to be toast down the back straight. Chaos is coming around the outside. And that's going to be an easy move. Ooh, not quite. Fascinator tried to come back there, tried to stick his nose in, but he has to cut the chicane in the end, and that's going to lose him even more time and put him under pressure from Aiden. Aiden could get another free position from incidents by other drivers, and he does. He gets up into 5th place. What a recovery drive from RWE Aiden. Really impressive stuff from him. PR Mango now getting involved, perhaps, trying to get past Fascinator. Everyone's been trying to pass Fascinator today, it would seem. It's a very popular pastime. Ronhar, meanwhile, just 0.6 of a second behind CTR Lucas. The Racing Point has been passed by Stringy. I wonder if I actually missed that pass for the lead. Stringy might have taken advantage of a mistake, perhaps, from Lucas, because he is now in the lead for Renault. Of course, Lucas might still have the net race lead if the guys on mediums end up having to come into the pits. But Ronhar, for the moment, seems to have the track position advantage. He is going to get past Lucas on the straight, I predict. He's got a lot more momentum. J-Ball gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. RWE Pat continues on his mediums. I think Pat can make it to the end of the race, but I don't think he'll hold on to a point-paying position as Batinator and 12s are both right behind him, ready to eject him from the points. Wang King, meanwhile, well outside the points already. And Pat's hit the wall. He's made a mistake in turns 1 and 2. And that's going to allow Batinator, Mr. B, and 12s right on by. So I think Red Bull are officially done in their fight for points today. Pat and 12th, Wang King and 13th, both of them on older tires than the cars ahead. So some really unfortunate stuff for them. Aiden, meanwhile, what can he do about CTR Chaos? He's on slightly newer tires. He's just outside of DRS range. Can he get into that range and continue the fight for the final podium position? Real quick, let's check penalties for the top cars. Stringy has 1 3-second time penalty at the moment. Lucas has 2 penalties, so he's at a bit of a disadvantage in that regard. Chaos has 1 penalty. Aiden has 11 seconds worth of penalties, and he's on 2 warnings. So Aiden, while his track position is impressive at the moment, he is on the back foot in that regard. And that could hamper him here, including in his fight with FRA Crispy for 4th place, which is not yet over. So there is still plenty to wait. All right, there is still plenty to see here as we wait for it all to unfold. Lucas, right on the back of Stringy still, but Lucas needs to pass him very quickly and then pull out a 3-second gap, because as of right now, he will not beat Stringy even if he overtakes him. He needs that gap because of penalties. And he needs to be very kind to the track limits in this final 5-lap stint. The differences in age can make more of a difference on track. So that develops. Meanwhile, Mango and Pat going at it. Pat's trying to get past Mango, and it looks like he's done it for 11th place. Despite the fact that Mango's on older tires, I think Mango might have made a mistake somewhere. Hit the wall at a certain point on the track, and Pat actually lets him by. But yeah, Mango should not be getting held up by the Red Bulls at this stage. He's on much better tires. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Rondar sets another fastest lap, 109.9. So he's got some serious pace. He's banging in the laps. Really trying to claw back this win, but I don't think he's going to do it, especially considering his penalty situation. Ronhar has a whopping 14 seconds worth of penalties at the moment. So he's in serious trouble in that regard. He might even lose 6th place to Crispy yet, if he, unless Crispy has quite a few more penalties than I think he does. Meanwhile, Lucas still hasn't gotten past Stringy. This is really serious. Because when Lucas gets past Stringy, he'll only have a certain number of laps to pull out the 3-second gap that he needs. And those laps are just dwindling away as he can't get past the Renault at all. So this is turning from a certain win to a really bad situation for Lucas. Considering his penalty situation, he's going to lose 2nd to Chaos as well, so he could be looking at a Renault 1-2. In fact, I'd say we almost certainly are looking at a Renault 1-2, considering just Chaos has been good with his penalties. Stringy has been as well. If Chaos can just stay within 3 seconds, he'll jump Lucas. Forget about Lucas jumping Stringy. A treacherous situation for the Racing Point driver and for Crispy, who's being attacked by Baby Pluto at the moment. But no, Crispy is going to stay ahead. Yeah, I don't think Baby Pluto has much left in those tires to attack with anyway. Mr. B, meanwhile, trying to get after Batsinator. Battle's still up and down the field. Points to be had, more to be earned. He's going to go out and earn it. Ronhar now within DRS range of RWE Aiden for 4th place. Can he get past this lap? We'll have to see. Very good hairpin from him. He's right on board with Williams' driver as he tries to get past it. Looks like he will. He's got an excellent run. Yeah, Aiden's letting him by. No contact. All right, no contest there. The Williams is walking by the Mercedes. So now he has to pull out a gap if he wants to beat him on track. And there's a yellow flag in the middle sector, and I think that's 12s. I think 12s might have hit the wall. Yes, he has. He's hit the wall coming out of turn 9. And that's blunted his charge for 9th place against Mr. B. He's lost him a lot of time. It might even allow Mango to steal the final point. if he can't stay ahead of the AlphaTauri. So 12's making a serious mistake there. Could really cost him. I don't think he's going to come into the pits. He's going to lose a lot less time if he just stays out and roughs it. Ooh, but he hits the wall again. The snowball effect of front wing damage is really starting now. As Ronhar gets past Chaos. Chaos has passed Ronhar on the back DRS straight out of turn 7. So he is ahead of both of them, at least on track, but I don't think he's going to get there with penalties. Again, he's just got so much. He's just got so many of them. And Lucas has finally gotten past Stringy for the lead of the race on track, but again, I don't think he has enough laps left to pull out a 3-second gap unless Stringy makes a major mistake. Because of how well Stringy was able to hold him up, Lucas now only has a lap and a half left, and that lap and a half, for probably that entire time, Stringy is going to have DRS on him to keep that gap closed up. It's a dire situation as Batsnader dives down the inside of Baby Pluto for 7th place. And it looks like that's going to be advantage Batsnader. Mr. B might follow him through on the back straight. Can Baby Pluto come back at him? No, he's not going to get DRS. Batsnader's going to have DRS. Mr. B will. Can Mr. B get both of them? I don't think he's going to try it. He's left it off. Yeah, he's going to stay behind the McLaren for now. That was a train wreck waiting to happen if he tried that. Aiden, meanwhile, getting a penalty for multiple warnings. It's too bad. If Aiden behaves himself enough here, he could jump Ronhar just for 4th place. We'll have to see. Ronhar, though, is right on the back of Stringy now for 2nd place on track. But I really don't think it's going to matter. Because Ronhar, again, just has too many penalties. Really is a sad situation for him. He's put in all this effort after his strategy was ruined by that safety car. And now, despite that really impressive move that he made on Stringy, as well as the ones he made on Chaos, Aiden, Crispy, etc., it's still not going to be enough. I think he's going to fall all the way down to 5th. Yeah, 5th at the checker flag. It looks like it'll be on for FRA Ronhar. Meanwhile, CTR Lucas is going to take the checker flag, it looks like. Unless Ronhar has something to say about it. It's going to be a race to the line. Lucas holds onto it, but Stringy, as I predicted, is going to win the race on penalties, and Chaos is going to get it as well. So it's a Renault 1-2 by a 1/10 of a second. And that is a really well-executed race for the Renaults. Stringy, Chaos, Lucas, Ronhar, Aiden after penalties. So Aiden, that sloppiness with the track limits and the closing laps on those old tires cost him the opportunity to get an extra couple of points for 4th place. Crispy gets 6th, Baby Pluto 7th, Batsnader 8th, Mr. B 9th, and Mango is going to steal the final point from 12's. And actually he's going to go even higher past Mr. B because of penalties. Wang King coming home 11th. Followed by 12's, who could have been in the points easily, but he choked it away. It's really just his own fault. He's missing both end plates now. And not a good final couple of laps for him. Alex K. George also missing a front wing part. And he's going to come home P14 well off the points. And J-Ball just had a pretty stinking race, honestly, and he finishes it with a really large crash into the wall of champions. He's a champion in that regard, at least. But that is the finishing order. What a comeback from Ronhar and Aiden. Yeah, indeed. They really were able to overcome adversity there. And there's your finishing order. Stringy wins the race. Ronhar gets 4th place in the fastest lap, but he just had too many penalties at the end. Chaos 2nd, Lucas 3rd. And we're going to try and get these guys into the party now. CTR on the podium. All 3 of them. And we'll just wait a minute now for them to get into the party. And there were a lot of incidents today. All right, guys, I see you all filing into the party now. Just check your boxes, and then we'll get started. Okay, thanks for letting me know on that. Oh,